is Michael, and today we're going to be talking about audit logging within FileMaker. Audit logging is essential for businesses that need to track edits, creations, deletions across their system for both places of reversion and for tracking who and when changes were made to their data. Today we're going to be talking about how you can implement an audit logging system in your FileMaker solution using only native FileMaker functionality. And we'll also be walking you through how to take that from our template file and put it into your existing system. On the right here, I have the demo file. As you'll see, it comes with an implementation guide, and then on the left here I have just a basic inventory app that has a couple parts. It has 2 records and they have different pieces of data about them. So let's dive right in. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to bring over all custom functions from the demo file into your solution, and you can do that by going to File, Manage, Custom Functions, and then you can actually just highlight all of them. And if you're on Mac, you can hit Command C, and if you're on Windows, you can hit Control C. Then come into your existing app, and then you can just paste them in. Now, things you'll want to check for in this is you want to make sure that nothing is commented out. So you'll just go into each one, verify that the logic is still there, and here you can see one that is commented out, and that's because I do not have these tables in the system. So for this demo, we're just going to track products, and we won't be tracking this changes made to this table. So then you can uncomment it, click OK, then just go back in and make sure everything's good. Awesome. So now you can click OK and save those changes. Yep, so that's steps 1 and 2 done. Copy them over, edit the custom function, and get log table names to reference all the tables you intend to log. And just as a note on this, you'll want to use base table names for this, not TO names. You want to use your actual table names. So here we have products. The next thing is there is a changelog new entry function. If you don't have a user table or your system doesn't function that way, it uses this global variable user ID to kind of record what the user's primary key that is making the edits, and that's so you can directly connect it, and then you can either run reports off of it or do fines based on that. And that is in the changelog new entry. You'll see it right here in the user ID. So if you don't have one, you can just remove that section or replace it with something else, such as like account name or something like that. The next thing you'll want to do is you'll want to create the log table, and you can just directly copy that from the template file. Just grab a copy of it, go into your existing file, paste it in there, and now you're good. Now you want to copy the create audit logs folder scripts. So in the script workspace, you'll find a create audit logs folder. It contains two scripts: create logs parent, create logs child. So you'll want to pull those over. Then we can do that to close it down here. We can go into the scripts, import, choose the template file, and then you just want to bring over this folder here. There should be no errors when you import it, but you can just check anyway. Looks like we're good to go. So now I'll open back up the audit log. So now you're going to create a layout for each of the tables you want to log, and then you need to give them each a new name. The easiest way to do this, and the way we do it in the template file, is the table name and then dash fields to track. So we'll open up Layout Manager in here, and we'll create a new layout called Products. And we'll make it a form. Okay, and then on here you'll just put the fields that you want to track. So in this case we'll do barcode, date, name, part number, unit cost, unit price. So that's all we'll track about our products. And we'll open this back up. Now you're going to want to add the following fields to the tables that you want to log, and those are changelog.json, ccn to log, and mod tstamp changelog. And the easiest way to do that is to open up Database Manager. You can go to either the order or the order item screen, and then if you just flip it to creation order, it's these three fields right here. You can click copy, open up manage database in the other one. Here's our products table, and then we'll just paste them in there. Now, for each table that we audit, you have to go in to the changelog.json and edit in here this get layout name parameter. It has to be the layout ID that you want to do, and there's a couple ways to do that. So if you have Monkey Bread installed, you can see it from here. So you can see mine is 6, but also if you go to the layout and then do data viewer and add a watch, you can do get layout, get layout ID, and then get layout name. And then you'll see we get 6. So then in the database, you'll just go to changelog.json, enter in whatever layout number you have, and you'll have to do that for each table that you add these fields to, and it'll be for whatever table those are. And then now you can test your 3 fields on the table by making new records and record edits. So I'll show you in the template file what that looks like. So if we go to the orders, you can see we have the changelog here. So there's no records right now. So if I create a new order, it populates a blank JSON. If I type in an order number, you'll see the history. It'll say who made the change, when it was changed, what it was. So we went from blank data to something, so it's new. we do not have the user, there's no user module in here, so that's left blank, and then it shows you the fields. So what was changed, order number, here's the new value, here's what it was before, and then it stores the old value as well. And this is important because it allows you to revert to old data, and you maintain a copy of that old data in the log so you can see. And then also with this logging system, if I make changes to multiple fields, one log, you'll see that in the history, all of our field changes were logged as one thing. So because we did the order number separately, that's a separate log. And then because we did both first name and last name together, those were recorded in one change log. The other thing to note is you'll notice that my notes is not in here. That is because if we go to the order fields to track, you'll notice that the only things we're tracking are first name, last name, and order number. So notes are not on there, and therefore they will not get tracked. Now, if you want to update what does get tracked, you simply just have to go to your layout, and then you can drag a copy of the field that you want to now track onto the layout. Then you are able to go ahead make a change in that field, and now you'll see the JSON updates with the notes. Now, because it wasn't tracking it before, it doesn't know the old value of the field. But now, if we scroll down, you'll see that it has the old value in it there. So only once the field is on the log record does it start tracking logs, and it won't, so anything done before that won't be in the history. Now, how do I create actual log records? Via the script, it'll go through. Ideally, you set this up as a server schedule on your admin console, and you can run it, every half hour or so. And what it does is it goes through all of the records that do have that JSON populated that don't have a log record yet, and then it creates those values, and then it clears it out. And you'll see the old values one is maintained. And then if I change this, you'll see this is now the old value. And then we have the old value for that one, and this one gets replaced in the old values. We can then create logs out of that one, and then we can go and view our logs. So this is what it looks like when the logs are created. So the information that you get is, okay, we have a timestamp, we have what table it came from, whether it was an edit, a creation, a deletion, or edit, creation, or deletion. And then we also have a description of what fields were changed. So you can see here, if it's longer, you can click on it to kind of view all of the changes, but it formats it as field, what the previous value was, what the new value is. And so you can see we changed it from nothing to these, and then here's where we changed it from this is going to be a new log record to this is going to be a new log record updated to be new. So that's how it works. That's what it'll look like visually. It's done through auto enter triggers on the actual database level, so it's fairly fast to run, and then we're actually storing it as a JSON on the record until that log script gets run that actually processes those. And that has the benefit that you don't have one field that just gets an enormous amount of history text that's been a previous implementation. And that eventually does cause slowdown. But this way also the users aren't waiting on the log records to get created. It's all done in the background by the server, but the record maintains that data until it's ready to be processed. Also, multiple users can make edits, and it will record all of those separately and process those at a time. And then as far as what is considered a one session of a log, it is any one user editing a record until they commit. So they can make as many changes as they want. They could change 36 fields, but once they make a commit, it will make one index in the array for all of their changes. And then if they commit those changes and then go back in, that starts a new log session. Let's go back to the implementation of this. Now you're going to want to bring over, or you're going to want to set up the script to have your own email credentials. So if you use SMTP, or if you've switched over to using OAuth already, you'll add in your credentials in the setup of the email, in the send via SMTP here. You can just set those up with your own credentials as needed. So that way, if for some reason log creation does fail, you receive a notification and can make the necessary adjustments. The other really important thing to note is the script server create logs-child makes assumptions about the primary keys of your tables. So that's all explained in a comment here. So these are the assumptions that are being made. The changelog field's name is the same on every table. So because we're just copying and pasting it, that should be fine. The changelog flag field's name is the same on every table. Again, copy paste should be okay. This is the big one. The primary key of every table is __ KPTID. This uses indirection in order to work. So you'll see it does set field by names. So it has to make an assumption about what your primary key is. You can update the logic if your tables have different primary keys to kind of pull in that information based on your particular system. It'll just make it a little bit more hard-coded, and this is built to be generic. The dev layout has the same name as the base TO's name. And then this script has multiple instances of indirection and thus will not show in a DDR. So the dev layout and what they're talking about there is, so in this file we have order. We also have just a table called order. And that is important because it does a go-to layout based on that table name. So if you don't have a layout that is just the base table name, you'll need to add one in, and it can just be completely blank. It doesn't need to have any fields on it, as it's just doing set field by name to find those records which need to be logged. And then the way this child script works is it goes to each table in that that's returned by that custom function of tables to log. It goes to the layout, does a find for all records there that need to be processed, and then loops through and creates the log records. Then it moves on to the next table and does so until it reaches the end of tables that you want to log. Next, you want to test the script. Obviously, it's important to make sure logs are actually getting created, and then you can create it as a server script. And then you'll want to set up a new server-side script on the admin console at your desired interval. After hours is the recommended option if logs are not required immediately. Now, if you need them more real-time than that, you can set it up to run every hour and then make adjustments as necessary based on your server specs. Then you can create whatever UI design you want for the log table. We just have it as a basic list view here, but you can kind of design it however you want. And then optional, there are fields on there for your KFT user ID, user, and record name in the log table. You can configure those to be auto enters. so that you pull in the user's ID, the user's name, and the colloquial name of the record, or whatever you would use to commonly associate it. So if you had an orders table, maybe you have an order number, which is different than your order ID. Or if you were logging customers, you would use maybe or if you were logging addresses, maybe you have like a common name for that. And then, again, I can't stress this enough, if you add more fields to the schema that you wish to track, you also have to add them to that logging layout. All right. And now you've just successfully integrated audit logging into your FileMaker file. If you have any questions on this or would like to reach out to us for assistance, please feel free to do so. You can get in contact with us on our website. Thank you.